Are you thinking about going on a cruise, on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and you're not exactly sure what you're going to be able to do as a family? Well, this isn't a normal ship tour. We are just going to focus on the things that families are going to enjoy about coming on a cruise and why we absolutely love it. So I'm Jimmy from Families on the Horizon, and we help people like yourself have awesome extended vacations, including cruises like the one we're on today. So let's go and have a look. Okay, so we're at the back of the ship, and one of the flagship activities on these Quantum class ships is the Flow Rider. And the iFly behind it, which is indoor skydiving. It's one of the first ships ever to get indoor skydiving. Now there's a few of them around in the Royal Caribbean fleet. Now these activities do cost money. So with the Flow Rider, you have to basically do a lesson to make sure you're going to be safe. Once you've got the band and you can actually get on there and you can get on your knees and do whatever, it then becomes free to use, and as you can see, people are taking advantage of that right now.
All right, so here is our iFly. So I'm standing right in front of our skydiving, indoor skydiving tunnel, and it is pretty cool. Now on port days, this doesn't actually cost you any money. All you have to do is make sure you've reserved a spot through their app, but if you want to fly in the iFly without being on a port day because you want to get off the ship, well, it's going to cost you $50 US for 2 1-minute flights in this tunnel. So for families like us, we're better off waiting for their port days to reserve our time and getting in here.
So the next thing we have on the list of activities to do as a family is the rock climbing wall. So the rock climbing wall is open only certain times. Obviously the weather has to be permitting. It can get quite windy up here on the upper decks, but as you can see, it's a hub of activity. There's lots of laughter and there's lots of brave kids going up that wall. The only requirement is enclosed shoes, and anyone can basically do it if they're over the minimum height. Okay, so what we have behind me is arguably one of the best things about the Quantum class ships, which is the ship we're on, Quantum of the Seas, is the Seaplex. You will always see kids and adults here having a great time. So one of the things they do here that is really awesome is they turn it into a bumper car arena. They turn it into a laser tag arena. They do roller skating in there. They're doing pickleball at the moment. They do a whole bunch of things in here to keep families entertained. There's activities all the time, which is absolutely amazing.
So as you can see, I'm standing up here on the mezzanine level, and this wraps around the top of the basketball court below. And there's multiple different sections which we're going to take you through, but this one itself has foosball tables, the air hockey tables, and as you can see here, it's also got one of those, it's a 10-pin bowling machines. Now we haven't done these ones because they actually cost money, but there's plenty of other things to do that are free. You've only got the air hockey and the bowling, and that costs you $2 US per game. So it's still a pretty reasonable price for keeping people entertained, but you do have a lot more free stuff that you can use. All right, so we spend quite a bit of time here. So there's 4 table tennis tables up the top here, and we have been versing each other like crazy because our kids are getting way better than we are.
So as much as we'd like to say that our kids just play table tennis all day, they probably spend the most amount of time in this room, and this is the Xbox Center. So they've got all these Xbox Ones. You go and hire controllers downstairs, they're completely free, and you get them for 30 minutes. So they have to line up, get a controller, and they can play whatever game on Xbox with their C-Pass card, of course. They can play any game they want on these Xboxes. You got to remember that the ship has high-speed internet, so all these kids are playing Fortnite with each other against other people. They're playing Roblox, they're playing all kinds of stuff here, and the kids have been spending a lot of time here, probably half an hour to an hour a day, and they absolutely love it. And it's such a good way of getting kids in one spot so that the parents can have a little bit of a break and maybe head to the solarium, which is something we're going to show you guys soon.
In Seaplex, there's not only big activities like your bumper cars and your fun stuff, there's also fun things like Jenga, where you can play with all your wooden blocks. You can make 2 towers here all combined. You've also got a little pinball machine just behind me here, and cornhole, which is a good game for families to verse each other. We were watching a family before throwing beanbags at each other, not in the hole. So they found their own fun on this day.
Okay, arguably the unsung heroes of the cruise ship for the kids is the vending machines. These are scattered all over the ship, and they basically allow you to get free soft drink refills, and there's literally 20 of them on the ship. So basically what you do is you got to have a beverage package, and that gets you one of these cups, these tumblers, and the tumblers have a little QR thing in the bottom that the machine itself scans. You then put a bit of ice in there, like that. You then go select a drink. I'm going to select Coke Zero. And then from there, you push a button and it dispenses. Now, we have been asked a lot, is it worth getting a beverage package on the ship? And I would say that it is, because the kids have been just drinking lots and lots of soft drink. Now, that's not great for them. Obviously, we wouldn't do that at home, but you can get things like water, Powerade, vitamin water, and all different flavors, some juices here as well. So it's not all just soft drink if you can convince your kids to try something else besides the Coke and the Pepsi and things like that. So definitely, in our opinion, it's been worth getting the beverage package because we got a premium beverage package which allows us to get mocktails as well. So we drink the mocktails and the kids, they drink the soft drink. Okay, so at the C-Plex, this desk here is the hub of all the activities. So this is where you go and get your controllers, this is where you get your basketballs, this is where you go get your pickleball rackets. It all happens from here. The staff here are super experienced, and I've seen a few times where kids have been injured, they've been straight onto it, they know exactly what to do. So your kids and yourself, I suppose, are in safe hands if you come to the C-Plex, and it's a really good place. And we probably spend 2 or 3 hours a day down here, and I believe that the Quantum class ships are the only ships with one of these C-Plexes. So definitely worth coming on a Quantum class ship. You know you're going to have a good time. So another place for the kids here on the ship and the big kids at heart is the arcade. So it's got a fully equipped arcade on the ship. Now, none of this equipment is free. You do have to buy tokens for them. You can buy tokens from the guest services, or you can buy tokens just out the door here, and it allows you to come and play games. The best way to do this, though, from my research, was to buy the tokens beforehand because you get a significant discount. So if you think you're going to come to the arcade with the kids, go and buy your tokens beforehand, before the cruise, because they're about 25% more when you're actually on the cruise. But there's always kids in here. They've got some floor games. They've got some games where you can win things. And yeah, there's always kids in here having a good time. Okay, so this is my personal favorite place on the ship. But the thing is, obviously there's buffets and there's main dining rooms. But if you get packaged during the day, there's plenty of places to come and eat that are completely free. So one of the places is the Doghouse, which is located in the C-Plex. And this opens from midday till about 5 p.m. And it makes absolutely amazing hot dogs. Now, these aren't just the 7-Eleven hot dogs. These are bratwurst, these are Polish sausages. These are really nice sausages. You got sauerkraut, you've got coleslaw, you've got onion. It's a really amazing place to pick up a quick snack. And what you'll find when you come on a cruise with the family is that you'll eat a lot. So now we're on deck forward, which is like the neighborhood of the ship. This is the Grand Esplanade. This is basically one hub that connects basically the front of the ship to the back of the ship. Now, as a family, you're not going to be spending much time here unless you have to go and get stuff sorted at guest services over here. And as you can see today, there's a lot of people there. But there is one thing on the Grand Promenade that you will need to go to as a family, and quite often, and that is the pizzeria, which we're going to show you right now. So we're at the place that we probably visit too much, and that is Sorrento's, which is a pizzeria on board the ship. Now, they do wood-fired pizzas here, and they're absolutely amazing. Now, the pizzas, they go pretty much 24/7. They do have to close to clean up and things like that, but as you can see, it's a hive of activity here. There's a lot of people catching up on work, sitting around, catching up, playing cards. It's like the hub of the ship because it's on level 4, which is in the neighborhood Esplanade area. So you can get pizzas here. You've got a vending machine over there, and you can get all the sauces and stuff for your pizzas, and you can grab as many pieces as you want. So if your kids are hungry between lunch and dinner, say for instance, you can come down here, grab a few slices of pizza, cheese pizza, and pepperoni pizza, something like that, and they're going to be happy and content. Okay, so we are in the dining room area of the ship. Now, there's 2 levels of dining here, and basically you can decide whether you have a set meal time or whether you just come whenever you come and wait for a table to free up. So you can see the menu's quite comprehensive. There's plenty of kids options on the menu as well for those more fussy eaters. There's the chicken and chicken nuggets and chips, and you know, the pizzas and things like that as well. You can get that in the dining room. We found the food's been absolutely amazing. We got a tip for parents. If you're watching this, you want to make sure that you get the 7:30 time slot and the reason for that is what we've been doing the last couple of days is we've been putting our kids and feeding them around 6 o'clock, taking them up to the buffet and feeding them around 6 o'clock. And then we basically send them off to Adventure Ocean, which we're going to show you guys in a second. And then we can come and have a dinner by ourselves at 7:30, a nice relaxing dinner just with the adults, and enjoy some amazing food. Now, the other thing with the dining room on the ship is that they have different nights, Caribbean night, white night, formal night, semi-formal. You don't have to dress up for them. So when we first got on the ship, we weren't sure what the rules were. Then we found out that no one actually cares. So we've been into the dining room on a formal night, just in nice attire, and they don't seem to have an issue with that. So don't be afraid to go and get a decent meal. If you're concerned about formal night, don't worry about it. You're all sorted. Okay, so now this one's exclusively for the big kids. Obviously, you have to be over 18 to go into the casino on the ship, but this is the casino. Every cruise ship has one. This is where they make a lot of their money. What I will say is we obviously don't gamble, so we don't spend too much time in here, but it's a pretty nice place to walk through. And if you get seasick, this is the calmest part of the ship. So if you get seasick, you may just want to go and sit on a chair over here. They do have all kinds of games. They've got the slot machines, they've got table games. They've also got craps in there too, which is pretty unique because a lot of Australian ships don't actually have craps. So if you want to roll dice, this is a good place to do it. And yeah, it's just a harbour activity 24 hours a day, like most casinos on cruises.
All right, so at the back of the ship on level 5 is a cafe called Cafe 270. And here you can get a pretty decent snack for yourself and the family. So they normally do a roast beef roll, they do salads, they do toasted sandwiches. They've also got a cafe and like patisserie. And this is also where you can get coconut cookies and cake. So we find this a really good spot during the day. Now, this one is open limited times. I think it's only lunch. They close for the afternoon and then they open for dinner as well. So you just got to be careful at opening times, but this one is a good place to get a snack, especially if you're going to see something in the next room here. Also, I am not a coffee fan. I don't drink coffee, but I know there are a lot of parents out there that do, and this ship is lucky to have Starbucks. Now, it has multiple Starbucks, and one is here in Cafe 270. You've got one in Windjammer. You've got one across from the pizza place where we were before, and I think there's a sneaky one somewhere else around the ship, but it is paid coffee, so you have to pay for the ones at Starbucks, whereas any normal black or white coffee from the marketplace or any other restaurants is free, but these ones are definitely paid for if you need that Starbucks hit.
Okay, so this is one of the largest areas on the ship, and this is Cafe 270. Now, the Quantum of the Seas, this is like a relaxed version of the theatre, so they do a lot of the games and activities, group activities here. They do trivia, they do all kinds of things here, and it has one of the best views of the ship. So you can see we're at the back of the ship, and you can see the whole window off the back. We're only a couple of decks above the waterline. And the cool thing about this is when they do shows here, all the windows, they close up, and the TVs, they move around. It's pretty crazy down here, but this is a harbour activity. We'll come down here once or twice a day just to see what's happening, and they play some pretty cool games, to be fair. So this is the central hub at the moment. They're meditating, that's why I'm talking a little bit quieter, but yeah, this is a really cool place to hang out. 7 days in, 8 days in, when you haven't got much to do, come and play a game and activities here. Okay, so a place in the ship that I didn't think we were going to be spending much time as a family, but we have been, is the library. So the library is just a quiet area, that's why I'm whispering. And we come up here and we play board games, because, you know, look, on a 16-day cruise, you've got to keep the kids entertained, and they're not always wanting to go in the pool or the kids club. So we just come down here with some card games, we play card games with the kids. You know what it's like, once you start playing games, you suck all the kids in the immediate area into playing as well, and that's what's happened. So yeah, we've spent a bit of time down here, and it's got a really awesome view as well, which is really nice. So it's a nice place to relax and unwind, and you always see this busy with a few people playing cards and reading books and bits and pieces like that. Okay, so if you come on a cruise, one of the things you're going to want to do is sit and relax with a pina colada or two, and this is the place to do it. So this is the pool deck, and it's one of two pool decks actually, but this is the main pool deck, and it's in the center of the ship outside. So this is a hub of activity. This is where most people hang out during the day. There's people sunbaking, there's kids in the pool. Now the cool thing about the pool is that it acts as its own wave pool. Once we're in the ocean, the waves really start rocking and rolling it, and it gets pretty crazy. Now, it's not always open, that's the thing. So you can come up here and the pool's closed. There's a second pool when this one's closed that you can use, which is indoors, which we're going to show you in a second. Now, let's talk about some of the features of the pool deck here. So we have 2 spas, which is actually really good. A lot of ships only have 1 spa or might have 2 across 2 pools, but this has 4 spas, which is really awesome. It's got a lot of seating area. And then you've got this awesome wave pool here, which is for the kids. Now, I think this is a little bit redundant because the waves are naturally created by being on the ocean, but as you can see, kids are having a great time in there. They also play movies over here, so they're playing movies all the time, which is absolutely incredible because you can sit in the pool, watch a movie with a cocktail in hand, and the kids can be swimming in the pool, super happy, and you can relax, which is why you came on the cruise in the first place. Okay, so obviously we've shown you where you get the hot dogs, you get the pizzas, but sometimes people just want to have an ice cream, and I bet you they do a lot of of ice cream. So this is the ice cream stand on the ship. What time does it open and close?
It's opening from 11 to 8.
11 to 8. And how many ice creams would you do a day here?
Almost 500.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, sometimes more than that,
Yes.
sometimes less than that.
Yeah.
Depend with the guests. If it's a sea day like today, It's very busy. I can make more ice cream. Yes.
So he's the most popular man on the ship on a sea day because everyone gets ice creams. Doesn't matter if you're young, old, or in between. There's 80-year-old people getting ice creams. There's 5-year-old kids getting ice creams. And it's all free. It's all included as part of the cruise. And how many flavors have you got?
I have 2 flavors, chocolate and vanilla.
And you can get both together as
I
well.
can get this both together, mixed one.
Yep.
The middle is a mixed one. This is a vanilla and chocolate.
Excellent. So there you go. Vanilla, chocolate mixed together. Can't go wrong with that, can you? Okay, so it can get quite hot outside. You know, if you're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and the sun's beating down on you, sometimes you just want to cool off, and the indoor pool is the place to do that. And also, sometimes the outside pool is closed because of inclement weather. So this pool rarely closes because it's indoors, it's a little bit smaller, the pool, but it's got the same sort of seating areas, same arrangements, and you always see kids in here. It's also got the 2 spas, and it's also got a kids pool as well, which is really awesome. And most importantly, it has a bar as well. So we got 2 bars. You got one here, one on the other side, and there's bars scattered all throughout the ship. But we've come in here regularly. Basically what happens, Liam puts on a life vest and he just floats around in the waves because it does get quite wavy in this pool as well. So this is a really good place to hang out. Like I said, the 2 spas as well. And if you don't want to sit out in the heat, you can come in here and relax because I think it's air conditioned as well. It's quite cool in here relative to the outdoor areas. So like any responsible cruise line, there's a whole range of life jackets here that you can just grab. You don't have to ask, you just grab. And there's also lifeguards on duty pretty much anytime the pool is open and it's not netted over. So there's guards 24, pretty much all the time. So you just come and grab a life jacket, you put it on. When you're done with it, you just hang it up and you're done. And the boys have been actually taking advantage of this quite a lot, considering they both can swim. They just like to float around in the water like a blob, I don't know, but they really enjoyed this, and I think it's just good responsibility. The other thing they do on the ship to minimize falls and trips is they have people constantly sweeping the water off the deck to make sure that less people fall over, because it can get quite slippery on the deck here. So you've got to be very sure on your feet, but they do try and minimize the amount of falls and trip hazards that are on the ship.
All right, so another good feature here on the Royal Caribbean ship is that there are free towels. So you can come along with your SeaPass card and you can clock out as many towels as you want in a day, as long as they come back. Now you can bring them back late at night, you can bring them back straight after you've used them, you can bring them back wet, doesn't matter, you can collect more even if they are wet and you want just dry ones. As long as you have your SeaPass card, you can clock them in and out. If you do not bring them back though, it is a $25 US fee per towel. So these towels can be used but have to come back.
Okay, so you've managed to shake the kids off. They're in Adventure Ocean, which we're going to show you guys in a second, or they're off having a good time by themselves. We are in the Solarium, which is an adult only place. You have to be 18 plus to come in here, and it's absolutely amazing. There's way more seating than the rest of the ship, and they're generally taken pretty quickly. So if you want to get seating here, you have to come pretty early. But it's got several pools, and they're all tiered, and it's also got 4 spas at the front. So the ship has a total of 8 spas, and there's always room in them. So you can always get in there and have a warm up in the spa, get some bubbles, and then come and cool down in the main pools here. Now, they've got a lifeguard here. The water's not that deep. I think he's a little bit redundant, but again, safety first on these ships. There's also a cocktail bar right over here, which allows you to go and get your drinks during the day. And people just set up and they just spend the whole day over here because it is a lot quieter than the rest of the ship, because you don't have kids screaming, you don't have kids yelling and screaming. So it's a beautiful place to hang out. It also has its own eating area, which is the Solarium Bistro, which you have to book, but the food there is Mediterranean inspired and it looks amazing. So that is the ship. There's one place we do have to show you guys though, which is where your kids will hopefully spend a lot of time, and that is Adventure Ocean, which is basically directly underneath us. Hello, Riley.
Yeah.
Do you like Kids Club, Adventure Ocean?
Yeah.
What'd you get up to today?
Gagaboo, Fireball, a game when you have to say the number 10, you lose a foot,
Wow.
a hand, or your head.
Oh, did you win?
No.
Would you recommend that kids come to Adventure Ocean?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Because it's fun.
So we are in the heart of the kids zone on the ship, which is Adventure Ocean, which is Royal Caribbean's kids club, and it's broken up into age groups. So you have the nursery downstairs, which is for kids up to 5, I believe. Then you have Explorers, which is 6 to 8, and then you have the 9s to 11s behind us here. And it's actually a really awesome space for kids. So the rooms are quite basic, but they have really highly trained staff when it comes to kids and childcare. And you can just drop your child here. You have to sign a few forms and documents to start. Then you can drop your kids here, and then they have a heap of games and adventures and do things with the kids. You can see down here, there's actually an open play area here as well, which kids can just go and run wild. So it's an absolutely amazing place. There's also a little science room over here, which we'll show you in a second. And our kids have been coming here a fair bit. Now, they were initially hesitant at the start because it was so noisy, but after about day 2 or 3, it started to calm down and the kids started to get into the routines and the excitement wore off. And the boys probably come here once a day, but it's open 3 times a day. It's open from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. So there's plenty of times for parents to get rid of the kids, have some time to themselves and really unwind and relax. And that's the reason we go on cruises in the first place, is to relax and unwind and have time together. Okay, so this room here is called the living room, and it's like a teenage area. Now, so obviously I can't go in there, only teenagers, 12 to 17 years old. But if you come around, there's actually no kids in there at the minute. If you come around, you can see how well it's set up. They've got a library and they've got a little seating area. And I've seen like 30 or 40 teenagers in there having a great time. And I think what's really good is they have a space dedicated to teenagers, so they can go and make their own friendships and meet their own and connect with people their own age and hang out with them, because the last thing a 17-year-old wants to do is hang out with their parents, right? So it's great that this area exists because there's a lot of teenagers on board and they need their own space. Okay, we are at the epicenter of the ship. This place is the busiest part of the ship by a long shot, and this is the buffet. So if you don't want to go down the dining room for dinner, you can come down the buffet, have a feed here, and there's so many different options, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's so many different options that you can have while you're here. There's everything from specialty gourmet meals all the way down to fruits. You can have a sandwich. There's always donuts and stuff down here, coffee. There's also a cocktail bar that a lot of people don't know about, which is tucked around the corner. But yeah, every like cuisine, every food option is catered for. If you're gluten intolerant, if you are celiac, if you lactose intolerant, you can just go and ask the staff and they can point you to the right meal that will suit your needs. But we find that we probably eat here maybe lunch, most breakfasts, maybe lunch, and a few dinners. And we haven't been sick. I know there's a lot of bad vibes about buffets on ships, but we haven't been sick yet, and it's 11 days in because the hygiene standards are super high on Royal Caribbean. What's your favourite meal?
I don't know.
Too much?
Yeah.
All right, sometimes when it is so busy, it is really, really hard to find a table for 4, but we scored one right near the window. Also, tip, if you need a table, ask one of the waiters because they'll always be able to find one for you.
So there you go, that's all the different adventures you can have on the Quantum of the Seas, and the rest of the Royal Caribbean fleet is very similar. So what did you like? Let us know in the comments. Is there something we missed? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe because we've got plenty of videos on how to have the most fun on your next cruise adventure. So I'm Jimmy, and I'll catch you all on the horizon.